Started. So today I'm going to be doing a card by card for the Speed Duel Battle City Finals set. This is going to be a card by card discussing cards based on their ability to perform within the pre-constructed meta. The little I know about the constructed meta, the general result of Speed Duel in general, and also the value that you get when you buy this set and the value of the reprints, given length since it's last been since a reprint, and given value of the card on the secondary market. So let's get started. And we're going to be starting off with 3 God cards: Slifer, Obelisk, and the Winged Dragon of Ra. There we are. These are the 3 God cards. You know them. They've basically depreciated a lot in value. You're getting a prismatic secret rare of these things, so, you know, you probably already have them. Let's move on. A long time ago, there was a starter deck in Speed Duel that focused on these poker knights. I like to call them the face knight cards. What happened is that they got support in King's Court, and that King's Court support has been added to Speed Duel. It's really bad support by modern standards. King's Court came out in like 2020, but this Speed Duel set is going to blow everything open with Poker Knights and the other card decks are coming out here. Joker's Knight was a $10+ card or so before the reveal of this set, so he's a nice reprint. Everything else was basically pennies. Joker's Knight is important because it's really strong. You can hypothetically special summon it. It's a 2000 attack beater by sending a knight from the deck. This card's going to be held back by having only 1 copy of each piece in your deck. And during your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other light warrior monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into your deck, add this card to your hand, adds another layer of inevitability. Great card. Imperial Bower. This card's utterly insane. If you control no other monsters, tribute it. Special summon 2 from the deck. Basically, Rescue Cat, but with plus side. Rescue Rabbit because it summons functionally vanillas. And this deck is just very solid. You've got a who's who of powerful DM warriors. Breaker is a great reprint. Breaker's been a card that I think has probably received fewer reprints than it's deserved. Magic Karibo's really strong in this format. You can always trigger it. You can get Dark Magician from anywhere. Dark Magician Girl is kind of an issue. I think I can go over the Speed Duel skills right now, in fact. So here what they are. Sky God Revelation and Ever Faithful Companions. When a level 10 monster with question mark attack is normal summoned to your field, each player can draw until they have 6 cards in their hand. Once per turn during your main phase, you can activate one of these skills. Reveal 1 Slifer the Sky Dragon in your hand, place it on the bottom of the deck, then draw 1 card. Once per duel, discard a card, then add 1 Slifer the Sky Dragon from your deck to your hand. Ever Faithful Companions. If your opponent controls a monster, Cyber Dragon stipulation, you can special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your hand once per duel while you control a monster whose original name is Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. You can add 1 Dark Magician or 1 card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. So your Dark Magician becomes Cyber Dragon. Really insane. You get to draw up to 6 when you summon either Arcana Triumph Joker or Slifer. Really insane. This deck is going to probably clap everything if it goes unchecked. Obviously, we haven't seen the skills of the other decks. Maybe they're really powerful. We've seen the skills of Bakura, but I don't think those skills are as powerful. But let's keep looking. Hopefully we drop with a limitation on Swords of Revealing Light. right now, I think 3 swords plus whatever other stalling tools in the game are really strong, especially considering that Mystical Space Typhoon is on the restricted list. And Mystical Space Typhoon is currently at... Oh, is Mystical Space Typhoon not on this? Oh, it's at limited 1. So you're giving up a limited 1 slot to play Mystical Space, and you're giving up a limited 3 slot to play Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of Swords. I predict Swords is going to be very strong. I predict Stall is going to be very strong. Monster Reborn is a powerful tool to, realistically, I think, complement Stall. It's a very good card. You're going to get 2 of it, and Konami did themselves a really big, pat them on the back. It took a lot of restraint for them to not print it as a prismatic secret again. That would be like its 3rd secret printing within the last 2 calendar years. Now, if you're playing this deck, well, I mean, it's just going to be so powerful. Spell Shadowing Arrow is kind of a dead draw. It is a counter to Swords Revealing Light. Thunderspeed Summon is going to be your primary target for the first skill card during the main or battle phase immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon 1 level 10 monster, or if you control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and Jack's Knight, you can apply this effect instead. Add 1 level 10 non-dark monster with question mark attack from your deck to your hand, then normal summon it. This is an effect that does kind of read as win more, but you're winning a lot more if you do get to draw 6. One of the things about Speed Duel that is interesting is that it's going to be difficult to take advantage of the full +6 just because you have 3 card zones, and it's a little bit hard to vomit your whole hand considering that a lot of cards don't have ways to inherently special summon themselves. Court of Cards just gives you Bungus's forever. If you control no monsters or only control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and or Jack's Knight, you can special summon 1 Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your hand or graveyard. This pretty much means once you establish 1 of them, or 3 of them, you're never going to run out. And you can banish up to 1 Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and or Jack's Knight from your hand or graveyard, draw the same number of cards you banished. And you can only use each effect once per turn. So, this card, it's a cost to banish the monsters, but this card is going to make whatever potential Stally decks really strong. It's going to give them a lot of staying power. Just in general, a lot of decks aren't going to be able to keep up. And then plus Quaking Mirror Force here, the number of stall tools in this format has gone up so dramatically. Dust Tornado. Dust Tornado is an interesting card. It is hypothetically the last piece of spell trap removal, but it's a lot slower. Yeah, I'm just really hoping that, cards like Swords Revealing Light, Monster Reborn are limited on day 1, but who knows? I mean, who knows how many OTSs or, realistically, how many Speed Duel events are going to be fired with these cards as part of the format. Because 100% this format is being sunsetted. The question is just, how much longer will there be any amount of OTS support? Because it never did catch on a local level. So I guess you can find people to play with online. Now, on to the Kaiba deck. We don't have the skills for the Kaiba deck yet. It is nice to see a bit of diversity in Blue Eyes reprints. Personally, I'm not the favorite of the Legend of Blue Eyes coloring and the neck, but also it's okay. Like, I think that we should have some premium Blue Eyes White Dragon arts, and we should have the 3 that we currently have as the primary go-tos. So we have Blue Eyes, we have the King of D. This card's name becomes Lord D while it's on the field. While it's normal summon, discard a spell trap. add 1 Flute of Summon Dragon, Melody of Awakening Dragon, or Dragon Rival Rhapsody. Melody is not in this deck, but it is in the set, so hypothetically, King of D Blue Eyes Turbo is really online. Melody has this powerful... Oh, did I lose it? I think I lost it. Whatever. Dragon Caller is a powerful skill that allows you to get double Melody in case you wanted to build this as a constructed deck, and it gives you extra consistency for the Lord of Dragon deck. This is going to be probably a powerful deck just because 3000 is impressive and difficult to beat over. Other new cards, Desferal Imp. This will do very little. Ancient Lamp, another piece of stall. I'm not so happy to see it, but you know, it is a card that appeared in the anime. And we get reprints of X, Y, Z. Always nice to see these guys. I'm a huge super fan. I'm the biggest XYZ stan out there. Enemy Controller is new, in case you didn't know that. Enemy Controller is being added to real-life Speed Duels for the first time. I'm sure if you've played Duel Links, you remember this card. It is very good in the Speed Duel space. I hope it comes to the game with a limit on some case, but either this set completely blows the limited list, or everything on the list comes off of it so that these cards don't run over everything, but who knows. This is a really powerful lineup for pre-constructed, but the deck does seem to have 2 different directions. Once more, Union Hanger exists, but has a single target. It's Y Dragon Head. And yeah, unfortunately, Union Hanger is not getting a prismatic secret printing this time, so that's upsetting to me and probably very few other people. And Dragon Revival Rhapsody, if you control a spellcaster monster, you can target up to 2 dragon monsters in your graveyard, including at least 1 normal monster, special summon them. Your opponent takes no damage this turn. Really terrible card in Constructed, Advanced, because this card released in like 2017, and pretty good card here. Now, trade in another new card that's pretty powerful. And then Shadow Spell is a new card that is a straight up improvement on the existing Spellbinding Circle. The only difference is that Shadow Spell has the clause of when it leaves the field, destroy this card, instead of Spellbinding Circle, when the target is destroyed, it leaves the field. So Shadow Spell is going to be just another piece on this really huge burn cake. Loop of Destruction is going to be basically worthless. There's a lot, I wouldn't say there's a lot of spell trap removal of monster through effects, but there's not enough that I think you can trigger Loop of Destruction multiple times. It's a very funny card if you are a big fan of Ring of Destruction. I'm so grateful Ring isn't in here. Champion's Vigilance. Champion's Vigilance is not a new card. I believe this was part of a meta strategy back in the day, like when Speed Duels first came out in real life. It's going to, I mean, we already know what it does. It's solemn if you control a level 7 or higher normal monster. XYZ, XY, XZ. Once again, YZ is missing. YZ Tank Dragon, this card is missing. And in addition, it was missing in the Kaiba structure deck in 2016, if you can believe it. This card instead got a re-release in Rivals of the Pharaoh, a set that I don't think many people have bought. And it's just crazy that this card gets snubbed twice. Yeah, I won't say it has like a necessarily sick design compared to the others, but I love it very much, and I'm very sad that it didn't get included again. It's riding the baby chair. Guilford the Lightning hasn't received a reprint in some time. It's not a very expensive card, though. Total Defense Shogun, on the other hand, probably has like 5 or so near mint printings that exist on TCG Player, so this is a pretty welcome addition back. This is the first time Jinzo's been put in a deck that doesn't fold over to a Stiff Breeze or itself in the pre-constructed, so I'm not sure if I feel particularly grateful about that. I think Jinzo's a little bit degenerate, and Jinzo doesn't do too much to stop all of the new stall tools that are out. Absolute Crusader is a card that does little against exactly, I guess, the Yugi new skill. Blue Flame Swordsman is a card that I think we've been wanting in Speed Duels for quite some time. It's a card that feels very in line with that, and in case you remember, it was released in like 2017 in real life in Advanced, so it was not doing anything there. Once per turn during either player's battle phase, you can target one other warrior type monster you control. This card loses exactly 600 attack, and if it does, that monster gains 600. When this card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one fire warrior type monster in your graveyard, special summon the target. It's a very mid effect. You probably read it once back in 2017 and then forgot about it. Penguin Soldier is funny to add to the deck, and it is a new addition to the format. I think it's pretty good for the format. I think that Penguin Soldier being flip monster removal is cool. DD Warrior doesn't really matter for the format because we already have DD Warrior Lady. But DD Warrior is a card that hasn't received a reprint for quite some time. From what I'm aware, it sees niche use in GOAT format as like copies 4 or more of DD Warrior Lady because DD Assailant is semied in that format. I don't know, I've never looked at the art and been particularly inspired or thought that I really need to sleeve this up. Invader of the Throne is also new, but this card is mediocre. Ooh, Sol and Luna is another interesting card. Sol and Luna, target one face-up monster you control and one monster your opponent controls. Apply the following effect on each monster depending on its battle position. Face up, change it to face down, change it to face up defense. You can only activate one per turn. Sol and Luna is one of the strangest inclusions in Rarity Collection 1. So, expect this card to, well, it's already flooded the secondary market. It could be more copies of Book of Moon if you need to play around the restriction of Book of Moon being semied right now. And it's arguably better than Book of Moon in certain decks. We'll get to one later. I really do like the angle they went with this constructed deck with the flips and the warriors. They can't stop themselves from reprinting Fissure. Fissure was in the 2-player starter set, and it was in the, if you can believe it, Nostalgia Pool for Rarity Collection Quarter Century Bonanza. Fissure. They thought, we really needed Fissure as a prismatic secret rare or as a quarter century secret rare. In case you didn't know, United We Stand is in the format of Speed Duel and doing nothing. It's a very powerful card. Almost definitely the most powerful equip spell you have. Trapple of Spikes is a card that, had you told me about 24 hours ago that it was getting reprint, I would be very excited. But then I learned that Trapple of Spikes got a tournament pack reprint about a year ago, and the card's value is in the gutter. So that's very sad to hear. It was at one point a card that people believed in, and because it released a Millennium pack or maybe Duelist pack, Rivals of the Pharaoh, it was a dead on arrival card. Well, it wasn't a dead on arrival card, it was a card that cost way more than it deserved. Fairy Box represents just another in the unstoppable, annoying line of why do we have these stall cards? And it is debuting in Speed Duels. If you want to make some type of stall strategy work, now is probably your best time. We have the Raw suite. These are the Winged Dragon of Raw special forms. You probably do know what Saphir Mode does, but I'll read out Immortal Phoenix, cannot be normal summoned set, must be summoned by its own effect. If the Winged Dragon of Raw is sent from field or graveyard, field to the graveyard while this card is near your graveyard, special summon this card. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to its effect activation. This card is unaffected by other cards' effects. You can pay 1,000 life points, send one monster on the field to the graveyard. Once per turn during the end phase, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one Winged Dragon of Raw. Sphere Mode from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, a few things. One thing is that it can't summon from graveyard unless Saphir Mode was properly summoned at one point. I actually have no fucking clue how this ruling works. Saphir Mode cannot be special summoned. Oh, right. Saphir Mode is not a no-win monster because it does not have a special summon clause, whereas Immortal Phoenix likely overrides that entirely. So, Saphir Mode exists. Yeah, I mean, in case you've ever read this combo, you should know that if you play one copy of Raw, your Raw at the end phase, or at any time of the turn, is sent to the graveyard, you summon Immortal Phoenix, and Raw remains in your graveyard, and you need to find a way to return it to your hand or deck before you can use Saphir Mode's effect to tribute itself. Very interesting decision making, and Sphere Mode's not a great card in this format just because it's difficult for your opponent to fill their field up with 3 monsters. Holding Arms is another stall card. It does mean that when it's normal summon, you can hit over it for damage, so it's whatever. It's interesting that Makura is given to Merrick instead of Odeon. It's pretty famously Odeon's card. It's not a major card or anything. They gave Merrick a bit of a water suite with Lord Poison, Lakunga, Granadora, Revival Jam, Reactor Slime. These cards will swarm and do things. They're all cards that we haven't exactly been itching to see reprinted. Reactor Slime is a card that was in the previous set. Lava Golem is a card that's getting a Platinum Secret Rare print because it's one of the few DM cards that stood the test of time. And these are all cards that we've seen before. Now, Millennium Revelation, oh, they're not showing it, but Monster Reborn is also in here. I think what happened is that they're not showing them because they're second copies of it. Now, Millennium Revelation is in here. It's a real good card. You can send one Divine Beast monster from your hand to the graveyard, add one Monster Reborn from your deck graveyard to your hand. You can send this face-up card to the graveyard. During this turn, you can special summon one winged dragon or from your graveyard when monster reborn, ignoring its summoning conditions. During the end phase of the turn this effect was activated, you must send one winged dragon while you control that was special summon monster reborn to the graveyard. You can only use this effect in Millennium Revelation once per turn. Yeah, this card is very much at the level where we think Speed Duel cards should be. Owner's Seal, I don't think will do very much, but there might be a deck where you can combine those with Doggeron. Doggeron is in the format. Remove Trap is funny. I don't think the Merrick deck needed another nerf, but maybe the skills are really strong. And this is something that I haven't heard a lot of other people say, but these pre-constructed decks do contain these terrible cards, partially for flavor, but partially just to balance them out. And then some decks, you know, get all the good stuff and all gas and no bad cards, like the Gym deck. Malevolent Catastrophe, famous Merrick card. This card actually got released for the first time in Japan all the way back with Structure Deck Merrick, like sometime in 2003. Hidden Soldiers, you should stay hidden. We don't want to see you. And Nightmare Wheel is... Oh, Nightmare Wheel already got printed. Metal Reflex Slime is very annoying to play against. We won't be happy to see that. And then on to Bakura. Invader of Darkness is a 2 tribute monster in a deck that doesn't facilitate 2 tribute monsters very well. It is a level 8 fiend for the search targets of some other cards, though. And, oh, we should get to this. Bakura. Bakura does have his skills revealed. He uses the same artwork in both of them because they were too lazy. Fear of the Dark is the skill card that copies the less interesting effects of Dark Sanctuary. While Dark Necrofear is face up on your field, Destiny Board and Spirit Message cards you control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. If a Spirit Message card will be placed on your field with Destiny Board, you can special summon it as a normal monster. It cannot be targeted for attacks. It does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Once per turn, you can reveal one Spirit Message card in your hand and place it on the bottom of your deck and then draw one card. So in a 20-card deck, you will be seeing Spirit Message cards in your hand a lot. This is a really powerful consistency skill. And then Malevolence of the Millennium Ring. Once per turn, if you control a fiend monster, you can activate one of these skills. Oh, interesting. It says one of these skills and one of these effects. That's a neat touch. And you can only use each of these once per duel. Okay. Send one fiend from your deck to your graveyard, lose life points equal to its original level times 200. Discard a fiend monster, lose life points equal to its original level times 200, then draw one card. Yeah, these skills are not powering up any known deck. Doom Caliber was one of the first reveals. Obviously, it was going to be a Bakura card. Hugely overstated for this format. Really powerful effect. I think Tengu Plant players use this. I think it might be an Edison card. I'm not too sure who the demographic of the reprint is. Snipe Hunter is a card that I personally don't believe belongs in Speed Duel. It's a little bit too powerful when it goes off. But this format is like probably stronger than Reaper format, I'd say. Difficult to tell. Sankin's in here, Witch is in here. They're just giving us all the candy before the parents come back home. Fiendish Rhino Warrior sends another fiend, enables your Dark Necrofear. I mean, you've seen this card before. These other cards are... Oh, Fusion Devourer is a new card. And when this card battles a fusion monster, the attack of the fusion monster becomes 0 during the damage step. Potentially interesting side deck tech. And there are the Destiny boards. Dark Spirit Mastery. Um, these are not exactly cards that we... Oh, Premature Burial is getting another reprint. And the only major reprint in this set, in this particular deck, is actually Offerings to the Doom, which was claiming to be about like a $3-4 card in Speed Duel print. It's a really strong card in Speed Duels, for probably the same reasons it was strong against like Zodiac. You pay the cost later, and you just get rid of a monster right now, anytime, no questions asked. Mudora the Sword Oracle is one of the cover cards of this set. Well, one of the cards I used to advertise this set. And this is going to be the first reprint of any of the Ishizu quartet that were featured in fan favorite deck Tearlament's Ishizu. Mudora was judged as likely the weakest of them, so it gets to be here. And we got Agito! Agito, the original, is not a very good card. It didn't get reprinted in the earlier deck. Cataclysmic Crusted Calcifida is going to be the card that really makes this deck together. It's a huge beater that's summoned really cheaply. And Gravekeeper's Commandant was climbing up in price, primarily because it searches Necro Valley. And you might be surprised, because... What do you mean it searches Necro Valley? Necro Valley's in here. So, it's good to get a reprint of Gravekeeper's Commandant. I don't like the addition of Gravekeeper's Spy to the format. And this was not a card that I think Go format players were having a hard time finding. Descendant, I think, does do interesting things, so I'm okay with having it. And Recruiter was claiming to be like about a $5 card. Gravekeepers were a good deck prior to this. They're going to be turbocharged with the addition of Necro Valley, Spy, and something we'll see later on. I can't particularly think of an application for Drag Down into the Grave in this format, but it is a very obnoxious card. In a format where both players have 20 card decks, if both players have 15 or more cards in the graveyard, Exchange of the Spear is going to just... It's going to be a dead draw in this pre-constructed deck. That's what I'll tell you. I actually don't remember what Medora does if exchanges in there. Oh yeah, it just lets me shuffle up to 5 cards in grave, okay. And Gravekeeper's Trap is just an annoying card. It does so many things. In a 20-card deck, Gravekeeper's Trap can and probably will stymie a number of draw phases. It has just such a high chance of hitting. And in the pre-constructed, it's going to be a little bit potentially easier to get on the first turn, but harder to get later. And now we get to the Odeon deck. Again, with more stall cards. More stall cards. We need to keep slowing down the game. So, Mystical Beast. The Gravekeeper's Guard is the card I was talking about. This is the last piece of the Gravekeeper's puzzle. Gravekeepers are going to be so powerful. This deck does look pretty bad outside of that, even with Mirage of Nightmare. Crazy card to reprint. This is going to be a pretty good reprint for Mirage, though. It's a card that has not seen a printing for a very long time, and that printing was getting pretty expensive. Double Snare is a card that I've read for the first time because of this. Destroy one face-up card in the field that has an effect that negates trap card effects. So, target destruction on Jinzo, target destruction on... Ryu Senshi, I think. Funny card. We might actually get a printing of it that says that it targets, or we might not. Deck is just classic Book of Moon, Mystical Space Typhoon, annoying stuff. Ordeal of a Traveler comes in, and this card is just going to hypothetically slow down the game even further. 4 card opening hands do make it so that it's less likely your opponent is going to guess incorrectly. And this is a really good reprint. I love this reprint. Fearsome Fire Blast was climbing up to be like a $10 card for no reason. And Harpy's Channeler was also a card that was climbing up in price. In case you don't know, Harpies are a fan favorite archetype. The stuff they get printed is going to cost a lot. Amazoness Princess was somehow like an $8 card when I checked. This deck is fantastic for any people who want to just women, but overall I'm not sure how the skill is going to tie them together. Last skill that did it was kind of meh. I believe it was called Tribal Synergy, and it was about as effective as like those potions say girl power. And Amazoness really didn't need another round of support, but they got one anyway. They've got the greatest support. So they've got Amazoness Call and Onslaught. I think they might be the new deck to watch out for. I've said this like 3 times. I don't care. Hysteric Sign is a card that has not needed a reprint, but it is extremely powerful in Speed Duel if you can get it off. And Harpy's Hunting Ground, these 2 combo, absolutely ran over early Duel Links. It's going to run over this format. Hopefully not. Shinado, the King of Higher Plane, was another card that was about $12 in climbing. It's neat to get a reprint here. It is a relatively mid card in all honesty. Hino Kagutsuchi is a card that also needed a reprint. I don't think Spirits are going to be a real deck, especially Tsukiyomi didn't get a reprint here. But we got Swarm of Centipedes, which is basically Tsukiyomi. Ashura Priest is a card that GOAT players will hypothetically be happy to see again. It's not a card that I think modern GOAT players are very much looking into, and it's a card that has not received a reprint since like Battle Pack 1. And from down here, we get access to the complete set of the 1400 attribute tutors. All of these cards are new to the format, but the number of ones that I think are going to make a difference is pretty short. Mystic Tomato, Spirit Reaper, these 2 cards are going to be crazy. As I said, that Thunderball is a card that's from the manga, and it's kind of interesting that they do include a few manga pieces in here. Thunderball, it's not doing much. And Mobius the Frost Monarch is going to be an insane addition to this format. It's really strong. Tribe Infecting Virus, they probably just wanted to reprint this card for the sake of reprinting it. It's an extremely powerful card that has not seen a reprint since like Structure Deck 4. King of the Swamp's another card that hasn't seen a available reprint. The last time it was reprinted was like Legendary Collection Yugi's World. It's a card that saw some play recently with Pure Elements. And then Melody, you know what Melody does. It's the card that everyone drops on you when you play Master Duel and you're in Silver 2 and you're up against Blue Eyes for the 4th time in the day. Breakthrough Skill hasn't received a reprint since like 2013 or something. It is relevant in, I think, 0 retro formats that people actually play. But it is a card that had a place in history, and I'm kind of glad that I got a reprint. And another Speed Duel reprint of Blue Eyes on the Dragon, really good. And in case you missed it, Max C is getting reprint here. In case you couldn't guess, Max C will be very terrible in Speed Duel format. But if you do want to build for Dragon Ruler mirrors at your locals for Time Wizard or something, or you want to build your max rarity, you know, Blue Eyes or Dark Magician deck from Master Duel, Max C is getting a reprint. And that's basically all the cards in the set. We've got a few more skill cards coming up, but I don't know if I'm going to post a video about those. Either way, this is looking to be a set that fills me with a lot of fear when I look at it. And it's looking to be a set that I'm very excited to start playing, but I'm also very not excited to play against. I'll get back to more of this in the future.